Prevention Service. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Do we know what happened and what's the latest?
I'm not 100% sure what happened, but I think what is more important is that consumers need to understand that a part of their data has been compromised, and how it will affect them is that fraudsters would attempt to get more information from them because not have been compromised, and then try to either open accounts in their name or take accounts over. So there is now an onus on consumers, unfortunately, that they need to protect the rest of their information. And I can maybe just give a scenario of typically what happens is that the fraudster would contact the consumer under the auspices that he's phoning from the bank. He will try to instill confidence within the consumer to divulge certain information like, hello, Mr. X, I know this is your address, this is your telephone number, and we have seen on your bank account that there's a big debit order coming through. We want to stop it. But we need more information from you. So they will then start to divulge more information or getting more information from the consumer. And through that process, when the consumer divulges information, then have enough information to take over an account or open accounts, new accounts in your name. You know, fraudsters have got one thing in mind, and that is to steal your money, and either by directly from your bank account or by opening accounts which into your name or take your accounts over.
So there's going to be confusion with consumers, as what we've seen is that a lot of business is done online. There are a lot of SMSs that come through for legitimate businesses and legitimate transactions. What's then the one thing that you would recommend that people do in light of this breach and people trying to access the information?
Yeah, I think signs, maybe I can give you some signs for which individuals need to be alerted on what, as a sign that they're becoming a victim of identity theft. As then the first thing, the most obvious one, is withdrawals from your bank account and or credit card transactions which you don't know about. But I think mainly, if I was a concerned consumer, I will get a copy of my credit bureau record and understand the details of a credit bureau record. Look at the accounts and the profile, and if there are any accounts that you didn't open, and you should query that because the chances that you are a victim of identity theft is good. If there are inquiries on that profile from accounts from credit providers where you didn't apply for credit, then that should be a warning. If suddenly your credit applications have been declined, but you are a good credit risk, then that should be a sign. And if debt collectors are phoning you to collect debt on accounts that you don't have, I think that is the first sign that you have definitely been compromised and somebody has opened accounts in your name. So be aware of it. I think the credit bureau report is the key here. That because all financial transactions are reported on this credit bureau record. My second big advice is do not divulge information telephonically. Your bank will never phone you to get information, so don't trust that and don't divulge the information.
All right, so we've got an information regulator in South Africa that's appointed to try and protect the personal information of people living in South Africa. This is not the first time we've seen a data breach like this. There was a big Liberty hack and the like, and it seems that there's going to be an increase as people move more and more online. What's the importance of the role of institutions like that, and do we need to do better in terms of the protection of South Africans' personal information?
I think by having information regulator just illustrates the importance of having someone's data protected, and one should be very careful to shift blame. I do agree that a lot of a lot of protection should be there, and a lot of security is there. But it takes one clever fraudster to overcome that, and your entire database is in jeopardy. And that's why we see reputable companies. We saw Liberty, we saw Nedbank, we saw Experian now, we saw international leaks where data has been compromised. So it really, companies should be at the top end of having the best securities in place. But then it's only as good as the clever fraudster coming in.
Mm-hmm. And then what should businesses be on the lookout for? Because we know that over 730,000 businesses were affected. Would the way that fraudsters try and access information be different when it comes to a personal interaction versus a company interaction?
I think it would be more or less the same. The objective will definitely be the same, and that is for the fraudster to get his hands on your money. So the businesses must also, my recommendation would be also get your hands on your own business's credit profile and monitor the movement in on that profile, because fraudsters will try to open accounts in that business's name. And through that process.
Should we worry that Experian said it handed over the details of so many consumers to a bad actor who was posing as a client? Should we worry about the level of, and I know APSA has released a statement after this saying that they've taken proactive steps to protect their consumers in case they'll be affected. FNB, I think, did the same thing as well. But the fact that Experian handed over so much information, do we then as consumers also need to worry that even when our data is in places that we think it's safe, it's actually not?
Yeah, no, you're totally right, 100%. I think we should be definitely worried that, I mean, we've got information all over the place. So the credit bureau is only one source of information, but very valuable information, very valuable information, and that is the core information which is used to open accounts. You know, if you phone one of your retailers, for instance, and they want to make sure that you are the correct person, they ask you knowledge-based information, and that knowledge-based information sits all at a credit bureau. So a lot of these, what we call knowledge-based security questions, have been totally compromised now. So yes, we as consumers should really be panicky about this.
Manie van Schalkwyk from the Southern African Fraud Prevention Service, thanks so much for your time on SABC News this afternoon, speaking about that Experian data breach as well as the safety of consumers across the country.